Right now, UW-Madison officials are settling a wrongful death suit with the family of a windsurfing instructor who was killed on Lake Mendota.
And state lawmakers are considering raising the age requirement to buy tobacco and vaping products.
Plus, law enforcement with a warning for store owners to watch out for counterfeit money and why it might be harder to detect.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 6.
First tonight, breaking news into the Channel 3000 Alert Center. UW-Madison has reached a settlement with the family of a windsurfer who was killed on Lake Mendota in 2017. Yu Chen was struck by a UW life-saving boat. His family filed a wrongful death lawsuit after the DA's office decided not to pursue criminal charges. We're learning tonight the university paid $850,000 to the family. University officials released a statement saying Chen's death was tragic. It says they, quote, disagree with some of the characterizations of the incident by the Chen family's attorney, but they believe reaching a resolution was in everyone's interest.
Well, as this snow this evening winds down, get ready for some unseasonably cold weather.
Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti is out on the patio with your first alert forecast. Gary?
Well, it's snowing pretty steadily here in the backyard, but it's been snowing for about the last couple of hours, and maybe a half inch has accumulated on the patio. A lot of the streets and the parking lot just appear to be wet if they've been treated, but secondary roads, side streets, driveways, and maybe some bridges are going to become slick as that band of snow moves through, but you can see it's starting to wind down from north to south. Visibility is right now about 1 to 2 miles in a band from around Prairie du Chien to Madison to Milwaukee. North and south of that, the visibility is not quite as low, so the snow isn't falling as much of a clip. But those temperatures continue to drop. We're 27 in Madison now, 25 at the Baraboo Dells Airport, and that could allow roads to become slick. By morning, as skies clear out, temperatures will drop into the middle teens, and then unseasonably cold weather kicks in for tomorrow with a high temperature of 26. Looks like we could be setting records or be near record low temperatures and record cold high temperatures for tomorrow and Friday, as well as early next week. Of more details in weather.
All right, Gary, thank you. And a reminder, our First Alert Weather and Traffic app tailors the forecast to your location so you know what to expect before you head out the door. You can download it for free from your phone's app store.
A public health crisis of 1 in 5 Wisconsin teenagers vaping has health advocacy groups pushing for change at the state level.
Rose Schmidt explains how a bill aims to keep tobacco and e-cigarettes out of teenage hands. Rose?
How old should you have to be to drive or drink or smoke? As health officials warn about the dangers vaping products and e-cigarettes can cause to teenagers' hearts and lungs, they're pushing for a new magic number to buy and sell any tobacco products.
If this was sitting on your teenager's dresser, you would have no idea what that was, or if it fell out of their backpack, you would have no idea what it is.
It looks like a highlighter, but it's actually a vaping device confiscated from a student.
Usually they'll get it from an upperclassman, like a senior who is 18. They'll legally go to the vape shop or online, they'll buy one, and then they'll bring it to the underclassmen, mark it up for a higher price, and make a quick profit.
Many parents may be strangers to Juuls and vapes, but as a freshman in high school, Bryn Dresselhaus says she isn't.
There's a boy that frequently uses them in the back of my study hall, and so I see that just about every day.
Experiences like that are what led Bryn to travel from Whitefish Bay to the state capitol in Madison.
It is so alarming for me to see the amount of kids already using e-cigarettes.
The American Heart Association is one of 25 organizations pushing to change the age to buy tobacco and e-cigarette products from 18 to 21.
Nearly 95% of adult smokers who are current smokers started before the age of 21. So there's been a lot of conversation this morning about why is 21 the magic number?
The bipartisan bill would prevent anyone from selling or giving vape pens or other paraphernalia to anyone under 21.
Even families don't understand how dangerous the vaping products are or what's in them.
Even some supporters say the proposal is far from perfect, but it's a good first step. And when you see vapes and Juuls in your school every week, you recognize that an age change of just 3 years can be a magic number.
I think it would make a huge deal because 18, that's seniors. Those are still in our high schools. So 21, there aren't a lot of kids that I know that hang out with college kids.
The American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network opposes this bill because not all retailers of tobacco products are currently required to be licensed, and they believe that should be changed. This bill has to pass both houses and be signed by the governor before this change could go into effect.
Rose Schmidt reporting. Rose, thank you.
The man suspected of hitting and killing a pedestrian Monday night on Highway 12 is out of jail on a $500 signature bond. Today, a judge ordered Sean Jones not to drive or use drugs or alcohol. He faces a tentative charge of operating on a revoked license causing death. The state has not filed a criminal complaint in the case yet and is still determining the charges. State Patrol investigators are performing a crash reconstruction and blood samples are at the state crime lab. Jones has a bail bond hearing scheduled for December 5th. The Madison man who pleaded guilty to raping and impregnating a 14-year-old girl last year will spend 8 years in prison and 5 years on extended supervision. A judge ordered 32-year-old Prakash Biswa to not have any contact with the victim or her family. He'll be on the sex offender registry for the rest of his life and is required to undergo sex offender treatment. Milwaukee prosecutors have charged a 61-year-old white man with a hate crime for allegedly throwing battery acid on a Hispanic man's face. The decision means Clifton Blackwell could face an enhanced sentence on top of his first-degree reckless injury charge, which is punishable by up to 25 years in prison. The sentencing enhancers of a hate crime and use of a dangerous weapon could add 5 years in prison each. The victim, Mahoud Villalaz, is a U.S. citizen who immigrated from Peru. He spoke at a news conference today.
As the dead skin been falling out, this current partial area is kind of better. This kind of, but here I kind of need to the more skin to need to fall out, but I'm getting better.
Villalaz suffered second-degree burns to his face from the Friday night attack. He says it'll take 2 weeks for him to recover. Madison Gas and Electric is working to find the source of a home explosion. This happened in the town of Westport. It blew out garage windows at this home on Sumac Road this morning. Middleton Fire Chief Aaron Harris says when firefighters first arrived, they read high carbon monoxide levels in that home. The explosion caused significant structural damage to the garage and living area above it. There were no injuries.
The YMCA on Madison's west side is closed tonight with no running water. Water utility crews are working on repairing a water main break. 5 other homes in that Whitney Way neighborhood are impacted. According to a Facebook post, all YMCA classes are canceled tonight, but they hope to open the facility later tonight. They will post updates to their Facebook page. Water utility officials say the break is not likely due to weather. State regulators say the Wisconsin National Guard is responsible for contaminating soil and groundwater in and around Truax Field. The Department of Natural Resources says the chemicals found are associated with firefighting foam. The National Guard notified the DNR they will negotiate a cleanup plan. If they don't follow through, the agency will take legal action. We should hear whether F-35 fighter jets will be stationed at Truax Field by this spring. The public comment period on the environmental impact statement closed on Friday. In a news release today, the Wisconsin National Guard thanked the community, plus local and regional leaders for their feedback. If the U.S. Air Force selects Truax to host the jets, they'd arrive here in 2024. Tonight, the public is invited to share their thoughts on an idea to speed up rush hour traffic on the Beltline. There is a proposal to open up the shoulder of the Beltline between I-90 and Whitney Way. The project would include installing electronic signs to show when the shoulder is open for drivers and shrinking current lanes by a foot. It would be funded by millions of federal dollars that have already been allocated for the project. Madison leaders would not be able to redirect that money for any different uses. To share your thoughts on the plan, the Transportation Planning Board is holding a public hearing. It starts in another 20 minutes or so, 6:30. It's at the Madison Water Utility on Olin Avenue. A suspect is in custody for allegedly using counterfeit $100 bills in Mount Horeb. Police say that case may be connected to other counterfeit cases in our area. Madeline O'Neill explains the trend seen throughout Dane County and why anyone accepting 100s should take extra caution.
So you find yourself with a $100 bill. Awesome. But you might run into some trouble trying to spend it.
Well, you know, $100 is, for me, it's a lot of money.
Mary's Coffee Express is a hit in Mount Horeb.
Large iced coffee with a splash of cream.
But owner Mary Hansen isn't prepared to take a hit from a counterfeit bill.
And I would be annoyed, you know, and feel like I was taken, of course.
Especially after police report at least 5 counterfeit $100 bills used in the village in October, including at Cenex, which just moved out of the same building as the coffee shop.
They told us that our pen that we had for detecting counterfeit bills wouldn't work anymore. I thought, uh-oh.
It's not just Mount Horeb.
The old technology for checking $100 bills we're finding isn't working anymore.
Stoughton Police Detective Alan Adams says criminals are getting creative, using bleached $1 bills and printing $100 images over them in order to pass the marker test.
We have had very similar using the older style of bills, and that was running rampant through Dane County and throughout the state, probably back starting in March.
These bills with Chinese lettering, or ones for motion picture use only, have turned up at local businesses. Can you tell me, is this real? How do you know? And it can be hard to be 100% sure even about legitimate bills like this.
But you would have to examine it with something a little bit more reliant on the technology to tell you.
Adams recommends taking the time to examine bills closely, which can be difficult for those behind the register.
And that's why the criminals are usually targeting a place that's pretty much high volume, that you have basically a long line of people behind waiting.
Okay, please go ahead. What can I do to prevent that? And the obvious thing is just don't accept $100 bills.
That's the new policy at Mary's Coffee Express, and she suggests other small businesses do the same.
We are just too small to take that risk.
The faster a business can report a counterfeit bill, the better chance police have of finding a suspect. In Mount Horeb, Madeline O'Neill, News 3 Now.
And police are reminding businesses they do have the right to refuse large currency. Next at 6, Edgewood College is stepping in to make sure graduates of the Boys and Girls Club's College Readiness Program have the resources they need on campus.
And there is more local news ahead. Neighborhood leaders on Madison's west side are concerned the city's budget won't cover the cost of additional police officers. Their concerns tonight on News 3 Now at 10.
Edgewood College is committing more than $15,000 to enrichment opportunities for students who are a part of the Boys and Girls Club's College Readiness Program. Edgewood officials signed that agreement today. The money will help students continue on a path to success, giving them access to dedicated advising services and providing office space for Boys and Girls Club staff to work with them on the Edgewood campus.
It just allows us to better support more of a wraparound style to ensure our students have access to tools, resources, and support that they need to make sure they make it to the finish line.
And there are more than 45 students at Edgewood who started their college careers through the Boys and Girls Club Avid Tops program. A downtown parking garage that's under construction is much brighter thanks to 2 new murals.
The Wilson Street parking garage behind the Madison Municipal Building now showcases multiplicity. The city's planning division partnered with local street art supply shop Momentum Art Tech Madison to bring the abstract art to life. It's part of a new effort to encourage and incorporate more public art at parking facilities. The plan is to install metal panels over the top of the art to play with light and shadows. You'll still be able to see the mural, but now is your chance to take a look at the uninterrupted art. An estimate from the state shows a proposed bill requiring elementary schools to teach cursive could cost public and charter schools between $1.7 and almost $6 million. That's how much student materials and teacher training could cost. Today, several lawmakers raised concerns that schools with low budgets would have to make cuts elsewhere in order to teach cursive. The bill's authors say the benefits of cursive can't be matched, especially considering research that shows students with dyslexia have an easier time with cursive compared to print.
Coming up in sports, could the Packers make a trip to London? Plus, how head coach Matt LaFleur is trying to get the team to move on from that loss to the Chargers.
And bundle up. A stretch of unseasonably low temperatures begins tomorrow. Gary has an update on just how cold it'll get next in your First Alert forecast.
The snow continues to fall over southern Wisconsin. It's a second band of snow that developed late this afternoon after a band moved through late last night and into early this morning. And then we had a break for the middle part of the day. This band of snow is actually on the leading edge of the colder air, which is dropping southward across Wisconsin and Minnesota, and will turn our temperatures even colder than they've been recently. You can see the bands of snow here. In fact, on high-resolution Doppler, you can see these slightly darker areas of blue where the heavier bands of snow are. Not particularly heavy, but you can see as visibilities go generally in the 1 to 2 mile range from around Milwaukee through Madison over toward Prairie du Chien, and then north and south of that, the visibilities improve pretty quickly. So once that band of snow settles to the south, it should probably come to an end by mid to late evening, and then any additional snow accumulations will be over. I'm not expecting much in the way of accumulations from what we're seeing out there right now. But high temperatures over the next 10 days because of that fresh snow cover. Very cold. Average high temperature should be around 49 degrees. It drops to about 44 10 days from now. but our high temperatures over that entire time period don't come anywhere near that. In fact, we have 4 days where high temperatures don't, or 5 days where high temperatures don't get out of the 20s, and only 2 days where temperatures even get close to 40. So that just shows you how cold it's expected to be. Alert days are in the forecast for tomorrow and Friday for near record temperatures for the lowest high temperature for the day, as well as the potential for being near the record low temperature for early on Friday morning. Those temperatures about 20 degrees below average. And for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week, it's even colder. Temperatures averaging 20 to 25 degrees below normal, with records in jeopardy not only for record cold high temperatures, but also record low temperatures for Monday and Tuesday of next week. The live view from the Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison, you can tell it's snowing at a fairly good clip across downtown Madison, but it's a light, fluffy snow that's really not accumulating too quickly. High today only 31, the low 27, and that's where we are right now, 27 degrees with light snow. Winds out of the north-northwest at 10 drop the wind chill to 17, and that northerly wind will continue to funnel the cold air down. We've been in the upper 20s to low 30s all day, but those temperatures drop off to our north and west. In fact, if you look out to the west of us, over the last 24 hours, those temperatures have gotten even colder, and that's what's moving in our direction. So again, I can't overemphasize the fact that this cold air will continue to settle southward as the jet stream shifts southward, and you can see to the west that jet stream coming in right out of central Canada, continuing to deliver the cold air through much of the central part of the country. That's going to be the case probably until at least the end of next week before we see any appreciable warm-up. The snow should come to an end this evening. Then it'll turn clear and colder overnight with a low temperature of 16 by morning. Tomorrow, sunny skies, but it's not going to help temperatures very much. High temperature only at 26. Record low high temperature for tomorrow is 23 degrees. Future track takes the snow out of here pretty early this evening. Then skies clear out overnight with low temperatures in the teens. High temperatures tomorrow only in the mid-20s. Tomorrow night will drop to around 10. Record low for Madison is 7 degrees, so we'll be close to that. And then look for a little more cloud cover on Friday with high temperatures in the upper 20s. 7 to 10 day forecast. Boy, just a little bit of a warm-up Saturday, and just as quickly a cold front comes through with falling temperatures on Sunday. Very cold for much of next week, and maybe a warm-up toward the end of the next week or the following weekend.
A former Monona Grove High School football star returns to Camp Randall wearing the black and gold of the Iowa Hawkeyes. We'll hear from Torrin Young in sports. Every year, the NFL plays 4 games in London, and the Green Bay Packers have never played in one, but that could be changing. The United Kingdom Managing Director for the NFL, Alistair Kirkwood, said today there's a desire to have all 32 teams play a game in London. Kirkwood says it would be key for the Packers to play in London, and it could happen as soon as next season. But part of the problem is the Packers wouldn't want to give up a home game to make that trip. The Packers were back outside practicing on the grass today in Green Bay after last Sunday's flop against the Chargers. Matt LaFleur trying to get the Packers back on a regular schedule, trying to make sure what happened in their extended stay in Los Angeles doesn't happen again.
They care, and they want to do well. And I think certainly nobody feels great about last week, but again, it's like any other week in the National Football League. On to the next one, win, lose, or draw. And so we got to make sure that our preparation is on point in order to put our best foot forward out there on Sunday.
The Badger football team is a 9.5-point favorite against Iowa Saturday afternoon at 3 at Camp Randall. They'll celebrate the 20th anniversary of the 1999 Rose Bowl champion season at the game on Saturday. It'll be the homecoming for Iowa running back Torrin Young, who helped Monona Grove High School to a WIA state football championship as a sophomore. This season, Young is Iowa's second leading rusher with 366 yards and a touchdown. He's looking forward to returning to Madison because even though he's now a Hawkeye, he's still a Wisconsin guy.
You know, it's definitely a great opportunity. You know, I grew up not too far from the stadium and watched a lot of Wisconsin football. So to, get the opportunity to go there and play against them is always fun. And it's exciting. A lot of family, friends, teachers, coaches will be there. So it's definitely, fun. Both programs pride themselves on being physical and tough and playing that smash mouth, hard-nosed football. So it's definitely going to be a physical game, and, it's going to be a good one.
The Badger men's basketball team is back from South Dakota. They host the Eastern Illinois team Friday night at 7. Last night, St. Mary's beat the Badgers in overtime 65-63. Badgers could have won it at the end of regulation, but the shot they got was this 3-point chuck by Aleem Ford that was an air ball, so it was off to overtime. St. Mary's then in the overtime missed a free throw with 4 seconds left to keep it a 2-point game. Ford had another chance to win it with a 3-pointer, but again, not a great look with time running out, and that was that. 65-63 St. Mary's. The Badgers dropped their season opener. The Bucks continue their 4-game road trip tonight, playing the Clippers in Los Angeles. They'll tip just after 9 o'clock tonight, and Kawhi Leonard won't play for the Clippers. He's sitting out for the dreaded load management. Leonard helped the Toronto Raptors eliminate the Bucks in the playoffs last season on their way to the NBA championship. An NBA spokesman says Leonard is no longer a healthy player under the league's resting policy, and such is listed as managing a knee injury, thus load management. Thus Kawhi Leonard won't play against the Bucks. My knee hurts. I'm going home.
Gotta sit. You gotta rest, Jay. Go home. Sit on the couch. All right, live look. We want to pass along some traffic backups. This is on Highway 19 near Windsor. This camera at the Highway 51 intersection. Dispatchers telling us 2 vehicles were involved. There are some minor injuries. You'll want to avoid that area. All lanes closed. We'll have an update tonight on News 3 Now at 10. And Gary has a final quick peek at the forecast.
Yeah, there's the closure on Highway 19. Light snow across much of southern Wisconsin, making the road slick, especially in areas where it's sticky.
Thanks for joining us.
Have a great evening, and we'll see you back here at 10.